Hey y'all, welcome back to Pure South Pastures. It is a beautiful day here today, and the cows are fired up. They've been bawling because I've tightened them down. They're mad at me. I've tightened them down to about 250,000 pounds per acre, about 250,000 pounds per acre, which isn't just ridiculous. But we're going to be moving them 4 times today. They've already had their first break. They're about to get their second one, and I just want to show you the results, what this is doing, and some of the mindset behind it. So I'm glad you're with me today. Let's see how this is turning out. You're going to love to see the impact these animals are making on the soil, and the way that we're going to build soil the fastest by using high stock density. So glad you're here. Hang out. Let's check it out. All right. So this is similar to what they went into this morning, and you can see there's a lot of ryegrass here. There's a lot, you can see the buttercup in there as well, but there's also a lot of clover mixed in. I'm trying to be careful because yesterday I was really moving too fast. I was just making people sick with the camera at work, so I apologize for that. So today I'm gonna try to move a little slower and make sure that you can see what I'm talking about. But I want you to see this. This grass is over my knee. It's some of it's close to waist high. So my boot is lost in the grass. And so that's what they're about to go into, okay? Here is the first break that they were in this morning. You can see what they did. They're kind of standing in the way. So, I mean, they've just trampled and eaten and peed and pooped all over this. And it's a beautiful, beautiful result. Back out just a smidge. You can see the impact and all of the stuff they made on the ground. Look at this. This is what so many people say cattle won't eat. Curly Dock had the seed heads on it. And look, let me see if I can just get a better angle on it. Look at this. I mean, it's everywhere right here. But this isn't even the worst. We're about to go into a paddock where it's going to be a lot. I'll show you. Before they go in, I'm going to move them in just a second. Before they go in, I want you to see how much Curly Dock is in here because we're going to look at the results this afternoon. Look at this. You see all of these seed heads, all of these plants, and I showed this yesterday, but I want you to see they've got all this leaf on them. There's going to be, when we come out of here, and this goes all the way through to the end of where we're going to take them in this paddock, in this break. And so when we get through, it's going to be a bunch of stems in here because they're going to pulverize. Also going to be interesting to see. Look at this patch of buttercups. Buttercups is not something that we want, and we're going to see how it turns out with the buttercups. Obviously, they're probably not going to eat them a lot, but they may trample them, and they'll pick through some of them. But we're going to get some effect in here. So let's see what we do. We'll move them in here, and we'll see how it goes. Here's the result of this morning, and it's just remarkable. So there are 2 reasons why we want to graze this way. The first is because we're laying down soil armor. As you put them in tight breaks, tight paddocks, they're not only consuming a lot of that forage, but they're also trampling a lot of it because they're in tight area and they're just moving around and being tight together. They're just trampling it down on the ground. As you can see, we've got a lot of trample. We got a lot of soil armor. All of that stuff is essentially dying. It's covering the soil. It becomes a thatch. That stuff begins to break down. The microorganisms in the soil begin to consume that, feed on it, and you're creating this fertile bed for the future for grass to grow. The second reason why we want to graze like this is because you're creating an environment where non-desirable or less desirable forages or forbs, weeds, have the same advantage as the grass. So what would normally happen is if you put them in just a big area and you don't tighten them down, what would happen is the animals, the cows would come in and they would eat the grass, they would eat the desirables, and they would leave the woody stuff and the weeds, so to speak, the forbs, and those things would just be growing all summer long. The ironweed, the ragweed, like you've seen back here, the Curly Dock, the dog fennel, all of the stuff that we battle with, the buttercup, all of that stuff, they would just leave it alone. And what happens is it gains an advantage over the grass that you really, really want. So when you put them in tight, then they're competing with one another. They're trying to get every bite they can. And what they end up doing is also setting back not only the grass that you want, but they're also setting back the less desirable stuff. And they're proving us wrong that they will eat stuff that people say they won't eat. When you put them in the right stock density, they'll eat just about anything. And so anyway, we're setting all that stuff back, and we're creating an environment where the grass and the weeds have equal potential throughout the summer to compete with one another. And eventually, you're going to create a better soil and better environment because of that. And your grass is really going to take off and explode. So those are two reasons why we want to graze them. You can see, we've just moved into the third paddock of the day. Let's see if we can watch her. Look, she's biting the tips off of that. She's got a big seed head in her mouth right now. Getting everything she can get. And that's what they do. So here, let's look at this. Easy, easy. Just an amazing amount of trample. They've just pulled the leaves off of all of this. Remember this morning, that was just covered. This paddock was just covered in curly dock. Now I'm sure these plants will probably, they're going to come back. I'm sure they'll make a recovery, and we'll have to come back and do it again. But look, remember over here was this area was a ton of, you can see right over there, buttercup. It was just piles and piles of buttercup like this. I showed that this morning earlier on the video. And what do? They took care of it by trampling it, laid it on the ground. All that buttercup. You can see, even in there, you can see some clover seed or clover seed heads right there. And that is just amazing. So, very, very happy with our experiment here with packing them in a little tighter, getting about 250,000 pounds of animal per acre, putting them on about 2,250 square feet each break. It's really, really working out good. I think it's going to help us, and we're going to see some exponential results. They've laid a lot. I mean, look, this is what's so important. It's not just that they've eaten all of this, but it's that they've laid, look at all this they've laid on the ground. And so all of that now is in place where it'll die. The stem is broken. It's on the ground, and now it becomes that what we were talking about earlier, that layer of soil armor, and it begins to decay and rot, and it just builds soil. So basically you're fertilizing, you're creating that carbon layer that you need in order to have healthy soil. The reality is most of our soil is depleted, and we're in the process of growing animals, but also growing soil. And so in the South, it's soul. For those of you in other places, it's probably soil, but here it's soul. And that's what we're doing. We're growing soil. So they're going to be on this for a couple of hours. Honestly, the end of this paddock is not as there's not as much forage there as there was on this upper end, but that's okay. I think we're going to get a good even graze. You can see we got a pretty good graze over on this side yesterday. There's still some places where they didn't hit it, maybe some manure pats or whatever, old manure spots. But by and large, I mean, we took it down pretty good. Getting good consumption and trample. Look at her. She's eating the tips off that curly dock right there. They say, whoever they say cattle won't eat curly dock. Right now she's proving it wrong. That's what she's eating. Oh, there's some hairy vetch, some grass, some ryegrass. When we come in here this afternoon, in a couple of hours, all of this will be stripped to look like all of that. It's beautiful. I know it's like this video is like a broken record. I keep saying the same thing over and over, but I just think the results are amazing. Very satisfying. This is one of the most satisfying things we've ever done with cows. And look, you got a little calf there. It's just deciding, hey, grass is cool, but we need some milk right now. Come on, Mama, it's time to have a midday snack. So here they go. They'll have one more break after this one, and then they'll ruminate all night long, and hopefully by the time we come back in the morning, they'll be empty and ready to go again. It's awesome. Love it. All right, we're about to make the final move of the day. I'm going to move this line. You can see the girls where they are here. Here's where they're going into. Let's pick this line up, pull it across, and let them in. They're excited to go to the last move. This break has not got as much grass, but it's a little larger than the other ones I've let them have today. So they just come in, immediately go down to the end down there. It's the old cow right here coming up last. She always is the last one in. And the wind is tough today. We got storms coming. It'll be storming tonight. So cows are starting to feel the flies. Going to town. You can see they're doing well. That graze line. Doing good, aren't you, girls? All right, so I've rolled up the last wire of the day. Cows are in here. I apologize for the wind. I'm gonna be wrapping up here in just a second, but it's just really, really windy today. They're gonna finish out this paddock this afternoon. They're gonna lay down. They may get up tonight and go back and eat some of this that they've already grazed today. And tomorrow we'll be on the next strip. We'll do it all over again. So we're able to do this on the days that I'm off. So that's pretty cool. I want to do one thing really quickly. One of the things that you're always thinking about when you change up a grazing method, or especially when you're putting pressure on them to kind of pushing them like we're doing today, you're going to be thinking about your animals, just the animal performance, how they're doing. Our smaller frame animals are doing fine. This cow she's always looked rough since I got her. She just doesn't perform well. She always has a great calf. She's been bony from day one since I've had her. These Angus cows, they're coming out of winter and they're starting to look a lot better. They had gone backwards a little bit over the winter, but the other cows here, they're just doing great. I mean, just you can see the rumen is starting to fill up. Hopefully by the time they finish out this paddock, they'll have a full rumen, and all that'll be good to go. So it's just really important that you keep an eye on your animals. It's important to me that I keep an eye on my animals when I'm changing up a grazing pattern, or we're pushing them a little bit harder than we have been, just to make sure that they're adjusting, that they're keeping up with their body's keeping up, and all of that, and that we're watching them as well. So we want to do a good job on the soil, but we also want to do a good job by our animals. And this kind of grazing will push them a little bit harder, but it's gonna increase our soil, and in the long run, it's gonna make it all better. So I'm so glad you joined me today. I know it's been a little bit of a kind of a repeat of yesterday. I wanted you to see more of the results, kind of what we're seeing. It's so satisfying to watch these results and see how this ground is just, I mean, just absolutely been hammered. And so it's really cool. Thank you for joining me today. As always, I appreciate you. Please subscribe, like this video. That helps our algorithm, so more people are able to see our content. And just hang in here. Probably making another video tomorrow. Do a little bit of something different. We won't be doing the same thing, but we'll be making a video tomorrow. So be on the lookout for that. Hey, God bless you guys. We'll see you on the next one.